Have you ever noticed how some people feel a strange sense of peace when expectations drop? When plans get canceled, deadlines move, pressure disappears. While others feel disappointed, they feel lighter, almost relieved. It is not laziness. It is not a lack of ambition. It is something deeper. It is the psychology of people who breathe easier when the bar gets lower. These are the people who secretly hope the exam gets postponed, who feel calm when a friend says no rush, who relax when a boss says take your time. They are not weak. They are wired differently. Today we are decoding the mind of people who feel relief when expectations drop. And by the end of this video, you might finally understand yourself or someone close to you, because this feeling is not random. It comes from how the brain protects itself from pressure, judgment, and emotional overload. Here's what psychology reveals. 1. They learn that pressure equals emotional pain. For many of these people, high expectations were never motivating. They were overwhelming. Some grew up in environments where performance was tied to love. Good grades meant approval. Mistakes meant disappointment. Silence meant you failed. Over time, the brain begins to associate expectations with danger. Not physical danger, emotional danger. The mind starts thinking, if I fail, I lose safety. If I disappoint, I lose connection. If I try and fall short, I lose worth. So when expectations rise, anxiety rises with them. Heart rate changes. Thoughts spiral. The future feels heavy. Now imagine what happens when expectations drop. A deadline is removed. A standard is lowered. Someone says, it is okay if you cannot. The nervous system finally exhales. Relief appears not because they do not care, but because the threat is gone. Psychology calls this avoidance-based relief. It is linked to stress, conditioning, and emotional memory. The brain remembers how pressure once hurt, so it celebrates when pressure disappears. For these people, low expectations feel safe. They feel like a soft place to land. They are not running from growth. They are running from emotional pain, and that is a survival instinct. 2. They struggle with fear of failure more than others. Fear of failure does not mean fear of losing. It means fear of what failure says about you. Some people fail and think, I can try again. Others fail and think, this proves I'm not enough. People who feel relief when expectations drop often carry this second mindset. They do not see tasks as neutral challenges. They see them as tests of identity. A presentation is not just a presentation. It is a verdict on their intelligence. A relationship expectation is not just effort. It is a test of their worth. So when expectations are high, the mind creates a future scene. What if I mess this up? What if they realize I am not as capable as they think? What if this confirms every doubt I have about myself? This creates cognitive pressure. Psychology links this to perfectionism and self-critical thinking. The mind becomes an enemy. It constantly monitors, constantly judges, constantly predicts failure. Now, imagine the relief when expectations drop. Suddenly, the inner judge quiets. The voice that says you must prove yourself fades. There is no test, no spotlight, no final score. They are free from self-evaluation. For them, lowered expectations do not feel like giving up. They feel like permission to exist without being graded. It is emotional breathing room. 3. They value inner peace more than external validation. Some people chase praise. Others chase calm. People who feel relief when expectations drop often belong to the second group. They are sensitive to emotional overload. They notice tension in rooms. They absorb stress easily. They feel deeply. High expectations demand constant output. Be better. Be faster. Be more. That energy feels loud in their nervous system. So instead of craving applause, they crave quiet. They do not dream of being impressive. They dream of being at ease. Psychology connects this to high sensitivity and emotional intelligence. These individuals often think deeply. They reflect. They overprocess. Their minds are already busy. Add pressure, and it becomes too much. When expectations drop, something beautiful happens. Their inner world settles. They can move at their natural rhythm. They can exist without performance. They can feel human instead of measured. It is not that they hate goals. They hate being reduced to outcomes. They want meaning without strain, growth without panic, progress without fear. So relief comes when the world stops pushing. It feels like being allowed to be. 4. They learn to protect themselves by lowering the bar. Over time, the brain adapts. If pressure causes pain, the mind finds ways to reduce it. One way is by emotionally lowering the bar. Instead of hoping big, they expect little. Instead of dreaming high, they stay grounded. Not because they lack dreams, but because disappointment feels heavy. Psychology calls this defensive pessimism. It is a strategy. If I expect less, I cannot be hurt as much. So when external expectations drop, it matches their internal strategy. The mind feels aligned with reality. There is no conflict, no battle between hope and fear. Just balance. These people often appear calm during chaos, not because they do not care, but because they have trained themselves not to expect stability. They prepare emotionally for things to go wrong, so when pressure disappears, they feel validated. See, I was right to not expect too much. It reinforces their coping style. The relief is real, but here is the hidden cost. Lowering expectations too often can shrink potential. It can quietly convince the mind that safety matters more than growth. That comfort matters more than possibility. And over time, life becomes smaller, not empty, just contained. 5. They are highly aware of their limits. Some people push until they break. Others stop before they bend. People who feel relief when expectations drop often have strong self-awareness of their limits. They know when they are tired. They feel when their energy is low. They sense when their mind is overloaded. They do not romanticize burnout. They know that pressure costs them more than it costs others. So when the world demands less, they feel seen. They feel respected. It is not avoidance. It is regulation. Their nervous system needs space. Their mind needs quiet. Their emotions need room. High expectations demand constant readiness. Low expectations offer restoration. For these people, relief is a sign of self-protection. It is the body saying, "Thank you for letting me rest." And that is not weakness. That is emotional intelligence in action. But there is a balance. Too much pressure breaks people. Too little pressure hides their strength. Growth happens in the middle, between fear and comfort, between safety and stretch. The key is not removing expectations. It is learning to change your relationship with them, to stop seeing them as threats, to stop linking them to worth, to stop hearing them as judgment. Because expectations are not verdicts. They are invitations. You are allowed to try without proving. You are allowed to fail without losing value. You are allowed to grow without panic. Feeling relief when expectations drop does not make you lazy. It makes you human. It means your mind has been protecting you. It means your heart has felt pressure deeply. But protection should not become a cage. You deserve peace. And you deserve possibility. You deserve a life where pressure does not feel like danger, where effort does not feel like risk, where expectations do not feel like threats. So the next time you feel that wave of relief when something gets canceled, pause. Ask yourself, am I resting or am I hiding? Both answers are okay. Awareness is the first step. If this video made you feel understood, you are not alone. Subscribe for more psychology that speaks to the parts of you no one sees. And remember, you do not need lower expectations to be safe. You need a mind that knows your worth never depended on them.